Is it difficult to be you?
Autism is a lifelong brain difference. Individuals are born with the tendency to be autistic, and then at this point in time there's a feeling that it's a combination of genetics and environmental triggers.
But the important thing to remember is that it's a developmental disorder, so those impairments they do progress and get better, but it's generally slower than a neurotypical person.
Generally, with autism often comes a lot of stress. So for instance, high verbal autistics, which we would think of as like Asperger's syndrome and things like that, they're looking at approximately a 30-year shortened lifespan. And the reasons are heart problems and stress-related things and suicide. Basically, autistics do not live a full lifespan.
I actually didn't know I was autistic until junior year. My parents were told when I was in 5th grade, but no one told me it. And looking back on it, it explains so much. Like a lot of my childhood, it actually explains why I stood out so much and why I didn't really care most of the time.
I didn't actually do a lot of social activities in school. Most of my school experience was just with the academic stuff. I think I had more conversation with the teachers and other students.
Autistics continue to grow and develop through the lifespan. It's just that they may be at an emotional age or intellectual age that's slightly younger than their chronological age. That makes difficulty with peer relationships, because if they have an age-appropriate peer and yet they're slightly younger in their emotional age or their social maturity, that can then impact their relationship with a peer.
They have been so socially unaware and kind of absent in a lot of ways that, but they never realized it, right? And so when you're 18 and you all of a sudden start really understanding what it means to be a friend or to have a friend, and maybe you realize that you don't actually have a lot of friends when you maybe think you thought you did, that can be particularly hard, because all of a sudden this person realizes that they're kind of even more alone than they thought.
Was school difficult for you?
Very much so. My eyesight's not so good, so people could come up to me and like harass me and they could run away and I would never really realize who it is. I was always considered weird, and I mean, isn't everyone?
In large part, it is the social factor. That comes up a lot, and it's kind of a constant battle. And I think it's a constant battle that a lot of folks with autism deal with their entire lives.
If you could give one piece of advice to your high school self, what would it be?
You're gonna be better than them. All those kids who picked on you, just let them do it. You're gonna be better than them in 10 years. You just say, screw it.
When I was younger, there was no help for autism, and autism was almost completely unknown. Now, in the past, those folks were often institutionalized, and that wasn't a great outcome either. From most people's definition, I was just a troubled young person, and they didn't really go any further than that.
There's more awareness, the access to the internet and the way that things are talked about to the public. There's a lot of public debate and forum that's very active and constantly changing, and autism over the past 10 or 15 years has been brought up in so many different lights.
The workplace is increasingly requiring more and more social collaboration, and so even in areas where autistics used to thrive, now their social skills are causing them difficulty.
For most of their life, the person has been told that they either can't do it or they were slow enough that people just step in and do it for them.
Transitioning into actually working is actually a difficult thing to handle. Like with work and looking for work, it's like you just kind of have to figure it out, and that is not something I think is a strong suit for me.
There's more workplace support. There is more support, but that doesn't mean it's easy for them.
I think the main thing is right now I have a job as a cashier at the local Sprouts, so It's not awful, but it's certainly not ideal.
I actually like to think, like, my acting career is honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I was working at the horse ranch, taking good care of those horses.
I work here at Canton's farm with the horses. This is my job.
One of the things that we find that makes it difficult for folks with autism to be integrated well into the workforce is efficiency. And that seems kind of harsh, but it's the reality. You know, if we're actually talking about who gets jobs and who doesn't, you kind of have to be pretty blunt.
I like interacting with the horses and grooming them and putting their bedding in. I love animals.
Breathe. There you go.
So, is it difficult to be you?
Well, me in particular, yes, it is hard being me.